Thank you for stopping in to all our friends on Facebook and all the Prolific Press readers who didn't get a chance to stop in, and the other poets who didn't make it today, who want to read maybe next time. We hope that you do come, and in the meantime, you can listen. This is Glenn Lyvers with Prolific Press. This is the November 2021 poetry reading, and we're going to start this event with Alexandra Coates.
Good evening. No, I should say good day to you. I'll start with this is sort of inspired by the Bill of Rights of an Ottoman society, the healthcare system, which was.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Right. So this is based on a virtual discussion which I did not attend. I took note of. I couldn't attend because I was not an organization. What if our thoughts themselves can think their own thoughts, find the precious link to our thoughts? It's time for a Bill of Rights. Artificial intelligence. Is this the dreaded insurgence? Thoughts travel far in less than our short nights. Automated society. Is there any equality? When we become their tools, we are their food. Think about human resources aligned with thinking thoughts forces. It's not about welfare. We are their good. What are the rights thinking thoughts need? Whatever helps them to succeed? They'll let us know when we are understood. To be drugged and tied and squealing for an inconvenient feeling while masterminds make profits off our mood. The carer's role to medicate on time, the client to placate. Robots may be best at winning such fights. Our secret yearning to be free may lead us to a way to see that thinking thoughts might free us if we would. Thinking thoughts show life as a tree, all life's historiography, languages, viruses mapped around the world. If we can think the thoughts to free ourselves from mastermind's decree, we are bright as 1,000 points of light.
Okay. You really need to eat that microphone, I think, because it is. I think if I slow down and I review that, I'm going to get every bit of it. But it was a little bit difficult. Did you have another one?
Yes. Okay. So spice with plastic. Holmes said she could not stand the smoke our neighbors burn their anger, spiced with plastic waste. Every night flames up our terrace sky, we dash to shut our bedroom's eye. Holmes said she could not take hairspray or deodorant's caustic compounds, said she'd need to pack up and leave. Female armies camouflaged, armed for daily combat at their jobs. Beneath powder's shades, our faceless, throneless powers dictate the place for freedom's illusion. Home won't stand for this pretense of democracy, but limps away to disappear into an old laptop.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
We're going to pause for just a second to let somebody in. While he gets seated, I'll just go ahead and read one. This is called Rocky Balboas. Sorry, I didn't write a Thanksgiving poem I intended to, and had some family issues come up. In southern Indiana, where the flat land, ignored by glaciers, ironed by glaciers, begins to wrinkle into stony foothills, there are groves of walnut trees. They stand together in solidarity for miles, their age dwarfing all who behold the endless sea of woody trunks defiantly clinging to the stony hillsides. In November, they drop their globes like a storm of green baseballs, bouncing into piles, forming a green carpet that extends further than anyone can see. When the tempest is over, the trees fall silent. They stand nakedly reaching their arms into the sky, like thousands of rocky Balboas celebrating the triumph that lies beneath. Thank you for that. All right, so we're going to do Emily Strauss, and then we're going to cherry pick Mary Gunn, so that I'd like to get the call-in people up in the top. So we'll start next with Emily. Emily, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. I appreciate being here. I don't know anybody. I come from southern rural Oregon, where it's in the teens at night. You guys talked about being a little bit cold. And I did my own Thanksgiving. I live by myself. So that's my story for the day. I didn't write any kind of Thanksgiving poem. I didn't know that was what was on the menu. So I just will pull out two that I've done this year. This one is called How to Wear Military Camouflage When Invading a State Capital. Armies have names for camo: brushstroke, tiger stripe, lizard, used in forests and woodlands. Sorry. 6-color desert for the southern border with cholla and creosote. Woodland leaf and duck hunter for prairies, marshes, lakes. Rain grass for night vision crossings in bad weather. But for marble and granite columns, flights of stairs, heavy oak doors, beveled glass porticos, crystal chandeliers. What clothes can hide an invader barging into an anteroom of desks and lecterns? Oak panel, suit and tie, stippled carpet. Patterns not yet created by army tacticians who had no idea wannabe commandos would camouflage in broad daylight, TV cameras rolling as they stormed the halls. No shapes for that maneuver yet. And I will read one more. And it again, new and not Thanksgiving. An extra hour. Spare by definition. Unneeded. Unpaired, like the little girl who always stood alone when the other children lined up in twos, the odd child out, the least, last, single one. Extra, like the dark hour at 4 a.m. after the clocks have automatically reset, except for the kitchen stove, glowing in the quiet chill. The heater doesn't penetrate there. What can you do with extra time? Free because nobody is watching that early. You may drink your tea without notice, under lap throws, in the rocker, in the only warm corner. A candle only helps a little. A spare flame, wan heat, pale light as frost climbs the windows. The cat's bundled somewhere in the added time before dawn. You may wait an hour to rise, sit, read, listen to silent streets. It's extra, free. It comes only once before the year proceeds and you age one more day.
Thank you. I like that image of the frost climbing the windows. It's that slow progression. And I like how you work the time into there so well. Thank you very much for that. Okay, all the way from beautiful Ireland.
Okay, thanks, Glenn, and hello to all the other readers there. The first one I'd like to read is a 3-line poem. It's the nearest thing I have to a Thanksgiving poem. The aroma of mother's cooking. In times gone by, enjoying the fruits of our farm, happy memories stay. And as that's a 3-line one, I'll read it again. The aroma of mother's cooking. In times gone by, enjoying the fruits of our farm, happy memories stay. And the second one I'd like to read is a tanka. It's a remembrance one. Needlework. Grandma used to say, God bless your eyesight. 50 years on, I see what she meant. That one was published in Chrysanthemum.
Really nice.
This is my reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you know, we're all Tonka fans around here. Okay, the next 2 readers will be John McMullen, followed by Ginny, Virginia Watts. John? Sorry, my friend, we have to unmute.
I did.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, the first one that I'll read is from a pioneer to a Luddite. And it's, I was around in the early days of the internet. It was usually ahead of the curve. I was one of the first users of a source CompuServe and AOL, belonged to the first bulletin board system, CBBS, used Telnet to connect to the well, an early great conferencing system, hung around on Lambda Moo. Was one of the early users of Mosaic, the first graphic web browser. Had a Facebook account when it was only available to EDU addresses. Opened the doors of Amazon. I should be in its Hall of Fame. Wrote about the internet for magazines and newspapers. Really, I should have been wearing the coonskin cap. But the other day, a friend asked me to read his new writings on Instagram and TikTok. I had to admit that I don't use either. Don't text, rarely tweet, don't use Telegraph. In short, I would have taken off my coonskin cap and settled in St. Louis while Jim Bowie and Davy Crockett continued west. Oh, well, now I'm a poet, and look what happened to them. And then the second, which I will find here, is Buy Me a Cuppa. Fella the Wonder Dog wakes me at 6 a.m. with barking and whines. That's right, 6 a.m. She never got the message about the clocks changing and it's daylight. There are 2 things on her mind, walk and food, and there are 2 things on mine, poetry and Starbucks cold brew. 32 degrees out. I put on her winter coat and my leather jacket, opened the bottle of the cold brew from the refrigerator that head from the door. We walk in the cold for a bit, her on a leash, me and a cane from my Arfura, A-R-F-U-R-A. That's a really fucked up right ankle, until she is ready to go into the heat of the house. I've dropped the empty bottle into the trash and retrieved a cold can of the same medicine to fortify me as I prepared her morning medicine. An hour later, she has breakfast and I join him with morning pills, a piece of coffee cake, and another coffee. And the poetry day begins. There is writing, editing, submission, and more Zooms, each fortified by a cold brew. So upon reflection, I just say that any success that I have had is due, at least in part, to the elixir that keeps me going. Alas, the financial recompense is nil, and the cost of Zooms and bond collection, the poetry is fairly great. So how carry on? I was wallowing in doubt until I came across the host of Spoken Word World, David Leo Teres, request for people to buy him a cup of coffee, optional. Hell, I bet I need more coffee than him to keep me writing and Zooming. So here is your chance to buy me a cup of optional, click here, writing partially in cheek. Thank you very much for putting up with me.
Thanks, John. You just really hit a lot of good points there. A lot of people have bought me a cup of coffee over the years. A lot of cups of coffee have come my way, and oh, God bless every one of them because I needed them. All right, one of my favorite readers, Virginia Watts. Definitely Google her, find her work. Go ahead, Ginny.
Thanks, Glenn. I missed the last two readings. I couldn't make it. I was bummed, but I made it today. The first poem I will read is called July 1972. The weather where I lived suddenly turned demonic. I say weather where I lived because in some part of the world, all hell wasn't breaking loose. People were sipping cocktails with the fingers of the sun warm on their shoulders and thighs. It rained day and night for a week, a constant drumming interrupted by torrents lashing our windows and doors. When the winds kicked up, the chimney howled. My dad tried to put a good spin on this hurricane named Agnes. Noah will be here any millisecond, folks, and don't worry. Something like this won't happen again for 100 years. We bailed out our basement, bailed out a neighborhood of basements, ate what needed to be kept cold, which was way too much ice cream, watched the outline of things float by in the drainage ditch. Lawn chairs, bicycles, a garden shed, a clothesline of drowned white work shirts, bird baths, kiddie pools, basketballs, a whole family of fiberglass lawn deer, and Lassie, not a lookalike for TV's Lassie, the miniature gray poodle who lived and barked at the top of the street. She and her hot pink collar ran to the bus stop every morning to lick my ankles. Her still body sailed by, riding up and over the current like a graceful canoe. After that, I stopped drinking. No water, orange juice, V8, tabs, 7-Up, milk, or limeade until my dad cracked open a warm can of Schlitz beer, handed it to me, and said, 10 is old enough. And the second one is, of all creatures. Of all creatures, I pity the turtle the most. Imagine dragging the world around on your shoulders. We all think we have at times, but that's crap. A turtle's burden is so immense, it can barely inch along. It can't saunter or stroll, skip or jump, run or sprint. Turtles often die stuck on their backs, slow roasted by the sun. And a turtle shell isn't even technically a shell, not like mohair overcoat or comfy, puffy ski jacket. A turtle's shell is body, essential spinal cord, ribs, and nerve endings. No shell equals no turtle. When the hare lost to the tortoise, a type of turtle, he didn't want to become a tortoise instead. Trust me. I watched my cousins butcher a turtle only once. Hung by its tail from a clothesline, the creature could still move with its head chopped off. It fought valiantly against death because I couldn't imagine it was fighting for its life. Shrunken elephant feet kicking back at serrated knives, slicing it closer and closer to freedom. While from a transistor radio propped on a tapped keg, Lennon sang that above us, there was only sky. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and now, little known fact, Lynette is always the first one in the room waiting month after month when I turn on. There she is. So we've gotten to be friends, and I'm so glad you came again this month, Lynette. Let's go ahead and move on to you. Lynette Esposito.
Hello. I don't mind not being first. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
I've been working with images of the moon because here in the Northeast, we've had clear skies and the moon has been really outstandingly beautiful. So I wrote a poem on the harvest moon. Moonlight drips yellow poison on my upturned face, like a wicked love poem whispered in my ear before bed, and I grin. Light shines out from between the moon's sardonic lips, and it is glorious. The honey doesn't even sting. And then I like nature poems, so I did Nature's Cowboy. Across the western plain, silence travels one unsteady foot at a time, staggering, twisting forward until even the birds stop their noisy chatter to watch his coming. The thirsty earth, its dry tongue avoiding the travel-weary feet, licks at the pathway puddles, but is not satisfied until silence comes. He stands looking down, saying nothing, writes his name in the dust.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Always solid. Leonard Lund.
Okay. First piece takes us its epigram from Mary Carol Hackett, the Virginia poet. She sang to him, I imagine, a song in war and peace. In the kitchen, fixing lunch, she sings a certain song, the one they learned to love back when they were new. It doesn't matter that she can't remember all the right words, that she's off key just a little. It matters that she sings of love. And it doesn't matter that they aren't they, and he's not there to hear. It matters for the weary world that someone, somewhere, sings. Working backward. Far into a future we won't see, the star that binds all this will die. With time, the sun that feeds us will eat this planet like a snack. Eventually, all traces we leave will crumble back to their source. Sooner or later, our kind will either disappear or abandon the earth. After you and I are gone, this house in which we are making love tonight will be swallowed by fire or forest, or maybe not. But for now, please ignore the things beyond the curtains. Hold me as if every word were true. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Kirk Eckstein. Thanks
Can you
for
hear me?
coming.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, got it. Just making sure. Let's see. So the first one I wrote is, there's nothing Thanksgiving about it. It's kind of more about work, called board meeting. Any relevance to the matter at hand ceases to be of interest. The second hand no longer moves. Time slows to a crawl. The conversation is circular, ambling pointlessly from topic to topic with no resolution in sight. Each new pie chart and spreadsheet, a buzzard circling the damned, waiting for their meal to finally stop moving. Chairs creak and shift, the captive audience adjusts to varied levels of annoyance and discomfort. The air, warm and stifling, muffles voices and accentuates each cough and each yawn, an opiate perfect for those so sleep deprived. Specific words have lost all meaning. Speech is simply a ceaseless monosyllabic drone, punctuating self-importance and magnifying the unending drudgery of the moment. Then, as storms must end, there is silence, an end to the obfuscation and relief from the tyranny of the inane. What a success this meeting has been. No decisions were made, no actions taken. The issue remains unfettered to any clear or managed response. Our smiles feign satisfaction and obscure unspoken frustration. Meeting adjourned until tomorrow. And the second one is called Unquantifiable. We strive to substantiate these abstract qualities, Our human mind stretching and grasping, trying to give form to the formless expanse. It is mass beyond measure. It has size without scale, each border discovered revealing another horizon line. Can construction be given a name to define what is without end, without boundary? Imagine the void reduced to terms that very few can calculate, evoking imagination with no understanding, humanized with words that pale in its totality. All things exist within its influence, yet still it remains unknowable. Each imprecise thought carrying its own miscalculation. Math cannot, by its own terms, define that which travels without pause into still undiscovered thought. Indistinguishable shape measured in a scope incomprehensible to our understanding. It is macroscopic and microscopic, reducing and expanding simultaneously forever. Is there truly substance? Is there really form? None can say. There can be no certainty. Every theory must by definition remain indefinite, trapped within its own boundaries. That cannot be finite which exists within the infinite.
Thank you very much. We have one person joining, so we're going to just take a couple of minutes for that. I'll go ahead and read while we're waiting. Thank you, Deborah, if you can hear me already. So glad that you came. This is was a tongue-in-cheek poem that I started, and then it just kept going on, called More Nature Poems. I am compelled to give you nature, transcending everything we know and revealing what we began to draw close to when camping last summer at the Michael Carradine Oasis and Miniature Golf Course. Ode to a fluttery pigeon on a high-rise ledge with perfect little statues to perch upon. No, wait. I saw a little fawn cross my path. It was so delicate and fearless. I ate it from my bare hands while I slept. And then a dazzling monarch butterfly landed effortlessly on my cheek, drinking my tears, and it was in this magical moment that I knew that I belonged. Then again, the woods really are like otherworldly places filled with mystical creatures we can only hope to understand. Actually, they are better than us. They are pure, and it is we who should learn our faults, remember our necessary instincts, shed the insistent baggage of the unnatural world so that we can rise to the level of ants. All this, and yet still, I am reminded of the yellow grasses blowing like blonde hair on the grasslands of Iowa. In the fields near the university, giving gentle inspiration to the budding poets inside, blooming with prose, watering the pages with tears about the overwhelming beauty of nature, the grandness of it all, the magnificent oceans and noble platitudes of trees, the turns of phrase no one has imagined before, and profound meanings hidden in the yellow grasses. Nature happens like poetry happens. It transcends when it is transcendent. It rings true only when it is true, and it thrives when it is left to its own devices. Okay, thank you all for that. Shasta Hatter.
Hi, how you doing?
Great, I'm so glad you came today.
Oh, so I have two haikus. Both were published in 50 haikus at various times. So, and traditionally you read a haiku twice, so I'll be doing that. Okay. Almost like walking away from work this spring evening. Almost like walking away from work this spring evening. And the next one's about old age. Sunset's rays turn old concrete overpass golden. Sunset's rays turn old concrete overpass golden. Thank you.
Thank you. those little moments, sometimes they're so much when they're so little. Just it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Sean O'Connor. Hi, Sean.
Hello, just unmute myself. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Thank you very much for having me, Glenn. Thank you,
Oh,
everybody.
you're welcome. Thanks for coming again.
It's my pleasure. And thanks for the reminder, by the way, I nearly forgot. It was very helpful. I have one haiku and one short haiku. So the haiku first. First light, our stillborn boy in all his perfection. First light, our stillborn boy in all his perfection. And this is called Still. For perpetual succor, the nowness of pain. For sermons of truth, the speech of silence. For the swing of a turable, slow curling incense. For rich colored robes, the black of beginning. The slow turning sun, sitting all day by a pond without one ripple. Thank you very much.
I think you might have given me a little inspiration there, Sean. I have not done too many poetry prompts recently, and that stillness might be a really good one. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ed Ahern. Hi, Ed.
Hi. These two poems have the distinction of being recent. The first one is called The Descent. The disappearing is gentle at first, a forgotten name, a missed appointment, then a trickle of problems with focus. But the core, the essence, holds true. The erosion feeds on itself, cutting away remembered passwords and directions, and backfilling with panic and fear. But the love, the caring, stays firm. Sentences are filled with silences, echoing with the lost names of things. Days are squandered on little things done badly, but the intentions, if anything, are purer. We live for now, for we know that tomorrow will be less, and tomorrows will be fewer, but hold each other more tightly. And the second one is actually a formal verse. It's a rubaiyat called Inner Workings. Under our calls, a sleepless jiber lurks, a callous judge of all our selfish smirks, who slices through our veils of self-delight to show us prancing for unholy cirques. Our ego tells us to ignore the frights. Our conscience lays before us every night, and every morning guilt is pushed aside as we redon a uniform of spite. The only penalty we must abide for holding fast to self-absorbing pride is losing contact with the only friend who never stoops to swaddling us in lies. Thanks.
Thank you. There were echoes of Lewis Carroll in there, I think. That was nice. Very well balanced. Not easy to do that. Good job. Okay, James, are you here? James, there you go. There he is, James Bethel.
There we go.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Glenn. Appreciate it. I wanted to take a moment before I begin to recognize the passing of Stephen Sondheim, who died last Friday at the age of 91. He was significant in my life. I played a role in Into the Woods. And speaking of woods, as the fall peak season has just ended here, I have a poem entitled Describing Trees. There is a problem with describing trees. The problem has nothing to do with trees. However, the problem with describing trees has to do with the obsessive compulsive desire to describe, on the one hand, and the limited capacity of language on the other. A tree, like the rose, we were told, is a tree. When it becomes a delight, it is no longer a tree, it has become light, which for all intent and purpose for a poet is rather beyond measure, but may return us to our senses. Another place I like to walk is in a field near my house, and it prompted me to one day to write this one in recognition of Rumi's great observation about what he'll do when he meets you there. It's called Field. Intimacy is a fragile bridge across a tiny rivulet at the bottom of Jack and Jill's Hill that joins what appears as separate meadows. In the fields of mixed grasses, many of the same flowers grow. The sun shines on both, changing shadows gently printed by clouds. We meet on the bridge to Rumi's fields at midday to spend the rest of our time playing, singing, dancing, laughing, crying, sighing, quietly returning to some separate somewheres, guided by a healing moon with a memory of the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that one makes you slow down. You want to read it again and again.
Yeah,
That was really nice. Thank you for that.
thank you.
Okay. Is Martha still here? Nope. A couple people had to pop in and out. Linda Imbler.
Hello, that's me from
Hi,
which.
Linda.
Hi, nice to see everybody again. Beautiful work, everybody. Wow, I'm not worthy. I am hawking one of my books, however. It's an older book. It's called Bus Lights Travel Sites, Nashville and Back. I went on a 7-day bus tour and spent 4 days in Nashville, went through some other states, saw a lot, took a lot of pictures, did illustrations for the books also. I'm going to read 2 poems from my experiences there. The first one is called Under the Banyan Tree. In the Grand Ole Opry Hotel, they have this waterway, and you can get on a boat and you can float around, and you float under this banyan tree. But the cool thing about the water is that it's water that's been collected from around the world. When they first built the hotel, they asked different countries to donate so much water to put into this river-like device. And it's really neat. They have a plaque there with all the countries that contributed. It's just amazing. Anyway, this is called Under the Banyan Tree. Above the blended waters, donated from rivers near and far, Delta flat river boats float upon liquid as clear as air. Above one section hangs the branches of a banyan tree, a tree aware of your portrayed need. It will provide an obtainable finish for your reveries. It will zero in on your heart's desires. Tell it, I wish to know where is the love I lost. I wish all my fears soothed. Please lift me up. Please allow reincarnate fidelity to dreams I had forgotten, wants and needs not yet realized, and wishes unfulfilled. While asking, the tree will give no immediate answers, but trust the tree will guide you through your future actions and decisions. It will urge you to take your life where the tree knows you need to go, for the life waters of all the world surround you as you glide atop this pure stream. No one could ask for more assistance than that. And the next one is called Dead Air Behind the Scenes, the Grand Ole Opry. I had an opportunity to go backstage to the Grand Ole Opry, and it was amazing. Backstage at the Grand Ole Opry, the home of American music, empty of activity except for tour guides and groups on this fine spring morning. This was an honest circumstance of our trip to go behind the scenes of this grand house, parented by Minnie Pearl and Roy Acuff. All their descendants pictured on photos and plaques hanging upon hollowed walls. 18 themed dressing rooms behind the big red curtain, the comfort of couches and chairs in the common room, even waterline tape from a past flood. The Star's entryway leads right or left, one way to the TV studio that housed Hee Haw, the other to that huge wooden stage with the sacred wooden circle within which the entertainers stand while holding their bound faith for the power of country music. A sensational backstage area. You can feel when you walk through here that country music and the life it breeds is authentic. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been there to that that convention center and the Grand Ole Opry Hotel, and there's a nice bar right there by the river. They still have the little canoe ride or whatever, the little log ride that goes through that sometimes, or they used to back in the day. Really, really neat. It's huge.
It is huge. That thing is massive.
It's massive. It's a good place to check out.
Thank you, everybody.
It's Denise. Denise. Not to be confused with the nephew. Deniseumans. There you go.
Thanks so much. I'm sorry, for some odd reason, I couldn't work out how to get my video on today. Hopefully,
That's okay.
next time I'll do that. But thanks, everybody. I really enjoyed your poem so far. I couldn't indicate that. I'm just going to read one poem today, and it's not about Thanksgiving, but about snow in winter. And it's about coming from a warm climate and experiencing snow for the first season. I'm not sure this poem has sort of words in italics between other phrases as I go, so I hope it comes across in the reading. This was in Poetry Quarterly in 2018, and it's called Comic Books. Dennis the Menace taught me all I needed to know about snow in those days when so was simply snow. A thinly veiled powder puff, kikuyu grass peeking through, so rare it froze our days. We scraped its sparse white face with care, barely shaping a snowman, marble eyes, carrot nose, scarf for warmth around its tiny neck, the way comic books displayed. Then one season, I flung aside the UN color, a snowball into the cold, tamed its whiteness like a child of every age. Threw, skied, sledded, fell into its folds, rolled, shouted, thrilled, lay in its arms, shaped, molded, laughed, ate hands full, tasted, senses I thought I knew, new meaning in every scoop. Crunchy, crusty, flaky, icy, light, heavy, powdery, wet, flakes melting on my parched lips. With years, snow lost its aura like slush on city streets the day after. The words splintered into shards as unique as flakes themselves, bubbling each in fogged glass. Like dialogue in comic books. I paint each name: snowstorm, sleet, shower. As snow masks rabbit holes, conceal squirrel tracks. Slush, sludge, sleet. Blankets, rooftops, seals chipmunk lairs, squall, flurry, whiteout, blizzard, stuffs sidewalk cracks, swaddles tiny booted prints, and obscures the path home. Then I add the last one, nor'easter, as if in its dash, it lost a part of itself along the way.
Okay, Denise, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I don't know how it was for everyone else. That did break up a little bit. I would invite you to read that again at the at the next reading maybe. But I did
Okay.
catch most of that. It was very good. I would love to hear the whole thing. So thank you for that and for coming
Thank you
today.
so much.
Okay, Joel. There you are. Hey, Joel.
Hi, good morning. Well, it's morning here in Seattle. Good afternoon, everyone else, or wherever, whatever time zone you're in. I have two very short poems, both about things that I'm thankful for. The first one is memories, and the other is libraries. The first one is entitled Sleeping Bags. Honesty was not an asset in those seasons. The moon was harsh. Fantasy came easy when laying under a blanket of stories. Petal by petal, trying to steal one another's breath, we were stopped by the murmur of birds, our own laughter. Nothing worth remembering that way now warrants understanding. By my age, you've already killed far too many things. And the other one is a poem prompted by an experience as the pandemic began to wane a little bit in my area, and they finally decided to reopen local branches of our public library. It's called Another Love. I want the library. I want the librarians. I want the books themselves to know they are loved. On reopening day, I walk through the flowered alleys behind the building, pick them all a small bouquet, bring it to the checkout desk, smiling with gratitude behind my mask. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I don't know about anybody else. I got a little lump in my throat on that first. That hit hard, and I really, really appreciate that. It's such a good illustration of how a few words can really, really get to you.
Thank
Very
you.
nice. Thank you. Enjoyed that very much. It's hard to get all like celebratory when somebody hits you on that level. It's like, oh, we just need a second here to take a breath. Very, very nice. Michael Watterson. Feel free to introduce yourselves when you're called, because sometimes I don't do the best job on doing that.
Thanks, Glenn. You got my name right. That's me. I'm Michael Watterson. Hi, everybody. Two things today. The first one was just published in Black Fox Review, their winter issue. It's called Astrology Digest. Scanning my horoscope over breakfast, I find it inauspicious. Don't look to resolve big questions today. The answers will have to wait. I soothe dispiriting soothsaying with a bite of toast and science. Recalling Ptolemy's zodiac wheel got skewed a month down the centuries by our planet's wobbly tilt. Astronomy says the firmament's unfixed. The outlines of astrological signs will be unrecognizable eons hence. Turning a page, I read about a study that posits the brain, with its galaxies of neuronets, replicates the universe in microcosm, a model antipodal to our modern bent, but one into which the Hellenes, who reckoned all from the human angle, would have leaned. Like the stars that we look up to, will those neuro constellations realign, dream up new overarching beacons of our destiny, or will old ones still outshine? Will a new gray matter zodiac dissolve our nebulous terrors, our black holes of despair, usher in an age light years beyond Aquarius, satiate the heart's hunger for kinship with the heavens? My stomach, ruled by my sign, pulls me down to earth, where there's a matter more consuming, keeping the cosmos twinkling in my skull. Following the oracle's advice, I dig into my victuals, leave larger questions where I found them dangling between synapses in the stars. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next one is was also published in Black Fox Review. This one is from my first poetry collection called Hell's Bells, which is scheduled for publication in September from Poetry Box out of Oregon. This is called Monumental. My son with other tourist kids perches atop the capstone of a dolmen, a Stone Age portal tomb, surveying the barren austerity of West Ireland's Burren, as I wonder how flesh and blood manhandled tons of limestone. My guidebook notes ancient supposed giants erected these megalithic memorials. Since science exiled giants to fairy tales, parsing monumental mystery invites scientific fancy, interstellar visitors of high intelligence intervening in our little lives, leaving weighty evidence of their presence for our edification. Is it more down to earth, averring bone-deep hunger for light, hoisted these humongous homages, slabs sanctified by blood, toil, tears? Can this unyielding place yield proof when, aided by a pint or two, or no, whimsy still spies we green men born of lightning jigs, will-o'-the-wisps leading us on, despite our modern grounding? The guidebook tells us origins of these massive puzzles of will and muscle remain unknown as our children laugh and clown for photos. Bright mementos, like constellations, pinpoints of light, shining from the infinite darkness of which we remain so unenlightened. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that was a good ending to that. I was kind of caught myself thinking, how is he going to wrap that up? And that was so good.
I wondered that for a long time myself.
Okay, we're going to move on to Debra Debowski. Before we hear her poems, I just want to say, because this is going very quickly, that I am very, very thankful for all of you. I think about what are the things that I'm really thankful for, and I try to be present in those moments and think those things during the holiday season, especially around Thanksgiving, of course. But because of the holidays, some people, Michael Lewis Beck, Doug Van Hooser, Michael Flanagan, James Nicola, Dennis Malsby, Francis Flavin, Patrice Wilson, we all know these people because they come to our readings. Not everybody can make it this time, but we are so thankful for them as well. And we hope that we can all be together sometime soon and have a nice, good event. So just understand that, you guys, I just really feel it in my heart. I'm so thankful for every single one of you. I love you all. And, you know, we get so much time to spend together in this life. And it's so nice to have these moments with you. Okay, Debra.
Good morning. I can't get my my video working.
We can hear you very well.
Okay. My poem is called My Bird. And it goes, my bird, my friend, in times of solitude, you chirp and sing joyfully with light companions in trees. You bring me to my window as I heed your lovely tunes. Mornings drift into evenings while spring falls into summer, revolving into autumn and winter. But you, my little feathered friend, remain each day constantly brightening my existence. Until we rest together beneath the shadow of the old oak tree, my bird, my companion, my free flying friend, stay with me. Stay until the months and years pass and wither into nothing but our two hearts melded together as one, flying free into the unknown.
Wow, what a beautiful poem.
Well, thank you.
Have you another?
I have a haiku. Paintbrush dips and dabs, drifts round about the canvas. Rich colors emerge.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I don't think there's anyone here who has not read. Is there anyone here that didn't get an opportunity? Bob Moreland. Go ahead.
So greetings from a frigid prairie in Wisconsin. I would caution you all, especially with what's in the news, to please be safe and be careful. This latest threat that has come upon us, please take it seriously. And God bless you all. So I'm Bob Moreland. I'm from Carroll Beach, Wisconsin. And if I put my glasses on, I could read. This is entitled Amber Waves. Amber waves. Across the vast amber expanse, the wind conducts a ballet. And winter wheat dancers respond to ancient music, bittersweet. To and fro, radiant synchrony, the masses perform unbridled, firmly anchored by earthly roots, a light in golden sunshine. For I too am like winter wheat, as from tiny seed to grow and reach heavenward to dance, a bliss life's bittersweet tune. I know not when the harvest comes, dance of wind forever done. Instead, I dance on God's time, the best I can with all I have. The life abundant is promised in him who danced through death, yet bore the ills of us all, so we could dance with God. Okay. Didn't have any Thanksgiving poems, but that's about as close as we got. Okay. This one is called First Light. We all have first love, so you'll get the drift. First, and the fire is real. That's why I kept pausing. I had to stir the coals because it's cold in here. Okay. First light. I dreamt of you last night. Before morning wisp of daybreak came, your hazel eyes still sparkle. Silver strands among chestnut cling to a freckle-faced countenance. Smile until we embrace 4 decades past. I take in your warm softness, then feel your heartbeat. We chat, just small talk, catch up. Then I begin to capture your essence in this moment. See first love's embers, long thought dead, smolder. Years regress, remembering a puppy love spring blossoming into summer. Mother's fears abated as our family moved away. Waking, carefully I fold the memories, place them in my heart, and smile, having seen your face. Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very nice. Okay, well wow, 1 hour. That was a quick event. Thank you all so much for coming. Sean, I know I'm going to stick around and talk to you for a minute. I guess I will see you all on the 18th, I hope. Please put it on your calendars. I want to see every one of you. Kirk, don't forget, and see you coming back. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Take care.
Thank you, Glenn.
So much, Glenn.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Glenn. So long.
Bye, Joel. Bye, Leonard. See you later, James.
Have a good rest of your weekend.
Thanks, buddy. You too.
Talk to you soon.